Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकरामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 14, the story of King Vena. So we have seen yesterday Hunkara Matrena, that is Brahmanas, the great saintly personalities, they killed King Vena when he was on the throne itself. His mother Sunita, being very attached to Vena, preserved the body of King Vena, and later, when the great sages they saw there was a great, plunder which was going on for the want of a good king, they decided to churn the body of King Vena because the dynasty, the family line in which Vena appeared was a Amogha Virya, was a very special family line of Dhruva Maharaj. And thus now let us see what happens. So we are at text 44. So when they began to very vigorously churn a black personality that we are going to see here, which is the sin personified. Kaka Krishna Atirasva Angarasva Bau Mahanuhu Rasvapata Nimna Nasagra Raktaksha Tamramurdvajaha. Translation.
This person born from King Vena's thighs was named Bahuka, and his complexion was as black as a crow's. All the limbs of his body were very short. His arms and legs were short, and his jaws were large. His nose was flat, his eyes were reddish, and his hair copper colored. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, this is a description of the person who was born. His complexion was Kaka Krishna, as black as a crow. His this this person was named as Bahuka. His limbs were very very short, and arms and legs also very short, and his jaw was large. Okay, nose was flat. His eyes were reddish, and his hair copper colored. This kind of a personality appeared in through the churning of the thighs. Of course, in Kali Yuga, a lot of bodily features will very drastically will go down. The concept of beauty also will be reduced to very, very external, superficial beauty. So, although there are so many disadvantages in Kali Yuga, but there is one great advantage. That is, with all this, one can still be engaged in devotional service. Kalau dosha nidhe rajan asti eko mahan gunaha kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sanga param brajet. That literally the bodies of Kali Yuga, as the Kali Yuga will advance, will become like this only. But still, there is a great benediction in Kali Yuga, and that benediction is that one can go back home, back to Godhead simply by chanting the holy names. And knowing this, The great demigods, they give up their heavenly planet and they stand in queue to take birth in Kali Yuga, especially in the house of the devotees, so that they will get the Vaishnava samskaras right from their birth. So, there is a good news in Kali Yuga as well. Text 45. तं तु ते अवनीतं दीनं किं करोमीति किं वादिनां निषिध्येत् अब्रुवन्तात सनिषाद तत अभवन्. Translation.
Translation: He was very submissive and meek, and immediately after his birth he bowed down and inquired, Sirs, what shall I do? The great sages replied, Please sit down. Nishida. Thus, Nishida, the father of the Nishida race, was born. Purport: It is said in the Shastras that the head of the body represents the Brahma. It is
Yeah,
said
please
that
continue.
in the Shastras that the head of the body represents the Brahmanas, the arms represent the Kshatriya, the abdomen represent the Vaishya, and the legs beginning with the thighs represent the Sudras. The Sudras are sometimes called black or Krishna, the Brahmanas are called Shukla or white, and the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas are a mixture of black and white. However, those who are extraordinarily white are said to have skin produced out of white leprosy. It may be concluded that white or a golden hue is the color of the higher caste and black is the complexion of the Shudras. Hare Krishna.
So this person Bahuka was very very submissive and meek, and he asked, "Sir, what shall I do?" And the great sages replied him, "Nishada, Nishada means sit down, sit down." And thus the father of the race, Nishada, was born. So Nishada or Nishada means sit down. Upanishada means sitting near the Guru and accepting the knowledge. That is called as Upanishada. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, sometimes when the body is represented as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, similarly, the colors are also represented according to that. Again, needless to say, that whenever we call of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, it is always Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, because the scriptures have a very clear understanding, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. So there is no jati bhed or racism here, right? In fact, once in South Africa, a gang of dacoits, of course, they were, the black people, they attacked ISKCON temple. And when they attacked ISKCON temple, they were not knowing what these two dolls are, and they were thinking they were dolls, actually the deities. And there was a beautiful deity of Krishna in the black marble, and beautiful deity of Radharani in the white marble, white deity of Radharani, just like we have in Radha Shyam Sundar or in Vrindavan. And so this the hero of, I mean the leader of this dacoit gang, he inquired that what this is going on. He said, "Oh, we are God's people. We are spreading God consciousness. We are doing good to society. We are spreading. We feed them, prasad, food, and everything." And he was okay with all of them. And then he saw these two deities, and they said that, "I don't know what you are doing, but I'm very happy that the black man is married to the white girl." So this is black deity of Krishna and white deity of Radharani. Right. There is another instance in Africa when one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, early days, 19 early 70s, and he was of course American, a white devotee, and then he was preaching there, Brahmanand Prabhu, very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And in his conversation, he was always talking like, he said that, "Swamiji, these Negroes have come. Swamiji, these Negroes have come. I mean, they are attending the program." And the program also, because of, the few things also did not go very well. Like one day, Prabhupada had put all these clothes for drying, Prabhupada's clothes. Prabhupada's servant had washed the clothes and put on drying. Suddenly, in the next time, they found that all the clothes were missing. And when people came for the program, somebody was wearing Prabhupada's dhoti, somebody was wearing Prabhupada's, kurta, somebody was wearing Prabhupada's, uparna, chadar, like that. And they said, "Arey, aise nahi karte, you cannot do like that." And a lot of other things. I mean, Prabhupada was preaching in such a place where literally, jokingly, not sarcastically, but in a fun way. People used to say we have 5 regulative principles. The 4th one is, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication. And the 5th one, they said that don't eat the flies, because the African country was so such that whenever any fly used to fly around, they used to take it and just gulp it down. So, with this background, all these devotees who had come from America to Africa to preach, they were just kind of fed up, and they were thinking, where we are got stuck up here in preaching. We are preaching in New York, Los Angeles, this and that. Now, where we are preaching? And, repeatedly, one day, this Prabhuji said, Prabhupada, these Negroes have. Prabhupada became very angry. Prabhupada said, for you, they are Negro. For me, you are white Negro. So, and then Prabhupada said, our basic understanding of the philosophy, Bhagavad Gita begins with, we are not this body, but we are the spirit soul. Right. So, all this have to be taken in the context. So, the black is called as Krishna, and Krishna is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. So, Africans, Prabhupada said that Krishna is black. And they were so happy, the God is black. And it became a sensational news, God is black. And Prabhupada said, not like ours like black, he's Ghanashyam, Krishna. So that is understanding. So text 46. Tasya vamshastu naishada girikanana gochara yenna ahartajayamano venakalmasha ulbanam. Translation.
After his Nishada's birth, he immediately took charge of all the resultant actions of King Vena's sinful activities. As such, this Naishada class are always engaged in sinful activities like stealing, plundering, and hunting. Consequently, they are only allowed to live in the hills and forests. Purport: the Naishadas are not allowed to live in cities and towns because they are sinful by nature. As such, their bodies are very ugly and their occupations are also sinful. We should, however, know that even these sinful men, who are sometimes called Kiratas, can be delivered from their sinful condition to the topmost Vaishnava platform by the mercy of a pure devotee. Engagement in the transcendental loving devotional service of the Lord can make anyone, however sinful he may be, fit to return home back to Godhead. One has only to become free from all contamination by the process of devotional service. In this way, everyone can become fit to return home back to Godhead. This is confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.32. Mam hi partha vyapashritya tya yepi snu papayonaya striyo vaishas tatha shudras tepi yanti param yatim. O son of Partha, those who take shelter of me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of 4th canto, 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Story of King Vena. Hare Krishna.
Thus, this Nishada immediately took charge of the sinful activities of King Vena. And then he was sent to the forest. And Prabhupada here, Bhagavatam explains that the Nishada, this is the race which is always engaged in the activities of stealing, plundering, hunting, and they are allowed to reside in the hills and the forests. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Nishadas are not allowed to live in the cities and the towns because they are extremely sinful by nature. And as such, they are very ugly. But all this, which are typically called as kiratas, does not become an impediment in devotional service. This is the potency of devotional service. Prabhupada writes here, one can be delivered from their sinful activities to the topmost Vaishnava platform by the mercy of a pure devotee. Right? That celebrated verse. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulakasha abhira shumbha yavana kasadaya yenni cha papa yadapashraya shraya shuddhyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namah. The shuddhyanti tasmai. All these will be completely purified and will reach the topmost Vaishnava platform irrespective of their so-called low or high birth. However sinful he may be, becomes fit to return back home, back to Godhead. One has to only become free from all the contamination by the process of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita here, Mam hi partha vyapashritya. Right. Ye pisyu papa yonaya. That birth is not the consideration in devotional service. It can give some advantage, but is not a consideration. Anyone and everyone can become devotee of the Supreme Lord, topmost Vaishnava, and can go back home, back to Godhead. And more so, in the era of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, the Panchatattva, and the mercy of Panchatattva being so freely available by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. So this is how we conclude 4th canto, 14th chapter here. Next chapter is chapter 15, King Pruthu's appearance and coronation. So is there any question, comments in here, any discussion? Yeah, what we have seen is that, as we progress in our reading, we are reading for all more than 6 years now, almost 6 years. So, the questions, they become very refined and become lesser also. This is the, the proof of Srimad Bhagavatam that, Kshiyante chasya karmani. What is the first line of this verse? Mukta eva. Chidhyate vidyate hridaya granthis. Chindyate sarva samshaya. That chindyate sarva samshaya. That by the very process of studying Srimad Bhagavatam, all the samshaya will eventually be chidhyate, will be completely destroyed. So we still have 10 minutes. We'll go to the next chapter, chapter 15. King Pruthu's appearance and coronation. Now we come to the next chapter. That is Prithu Maharaj and Ṛṣi. She is going to appear from this further journey. So this chapter is divided into three sections. Small chapter. First 1 to 10 shlokas. It is about appearance of Maharaj Prithu and Ṛṣi. Then there is 11 to 20. Coronation of King Prithu, Rajabhishek. And then 21 to 26. Prithu. So as soon as he is, being coronated, all the bards, they began to glorify King Prithu. And Maharaj Prithu says, let me do something. I have just taken my birth now. Let me do something and then you praise me. And all these, the Bhata community or the bards or who are the praisers who wake up the Lord in the morning, they say that, my dear Lord, it is just the time which is going to separate because you are anyway the Shaktavesh avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we come to text 1. Maitreya Uvacha अथस्तस्य पुनर्विप्रैर् अपुत्रस्य महीपते बाहुभ्यां मध्यमनाभ्यां मिथुनं समपद्यत. Translation.
The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, thus the Brahmanas and the great sages again churned the two arms of King Vena's dead body. As a result, a male and female couple came out of his arms.
Yeah. First they churned the thighs of this King Vena, and then they churned the two arms of the King Vena's dead body. And then from the two arms, a celebrated male and female couple arose from that particular journey. Text 2. तद्दृष्ट्वा मिथुनं जातं ऋषयो ब्राह्मवादिनः ऊर्जुः परमसन्तुष्टा विदित्वा भगवत्कलाम्. Translation.
The great sages were highly learned in Vedic knowledge. When they saw the male and female born of the arms of Vena's body, they were very pleased, for they could understand that the couple was an expansion of the plenary portion of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The method adopted by the great sages and scholars who were learned in Vedic knowledge was perfect. They removed all the reactions of King Vena's sinful activities by seeing that King Vena first gave birth to Bahuka, described in the previous chapter. After King Vena's body was thus purified, a male and female came out of it, and the great sages could understand that this was an expansion of Lord Vishnu. This expansion, of course, was not Vishnu Tattva, but a specifically empowered expansion of Lord Vishnu known as Avesha. Hare Krishna.
So when the great sages, when they saw this personality, this couple coming out, they were paramasantushta. They were very learned and they were very pleased to see the appearance of these personalities, and they could understand the couple was an Bhagavat Kalam, expansion of the plenary portion of Lord Vishnu. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the method adopted by the great sages was perfect method. First, they removed the reactions of King Vena's sinful activities by seeing that the King Vena first gave birth to Bahuka. And this is exactly the process of initiation is. In the process of initiation, the all the sins and the previous the sinful activities, the karma that is being destroyed by the process of devotional service by the mercy of Guru and by the direct intervention of the Supreme Lord, we perform yajña, and we put the banana which represents the sinful activities, and that devotee who is taking the initiation, and then he will take the vows. So previous karmas are burnt, and then he takes the vows, and then chanting the holy names, like that it is. So after Bahuka left, King Vena's body was thus purified, right? And thus they churned the arms, and the male and female came out of that, which were the expansions of Lord Vishnu. Srila Prabhupada very categorically mentions here, they were not Vishnu Tattva, but they were specially empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu known as Avesha. So particular Shakti is awarded to that Jiva, and that Jiva becomes avatar, and that avatar is called as Shaktya Avesha avatar. आवेश मतलब है ना, कभी कभी हम बोलते हैं ना आवेश में आ गए, मराठी तो भी यूज दिस वर्ड आवेश, आवेशा त्वेषाने आवेशाने, like that. So Avesh means the particular Shakti is imbued in a personality, and that he becomes Shakti Avesh and performs such activities that it literally becomes like avatar. But he is a Jiva Tattva, he is not Vishnu Tattva, neither is a Shiva Tattva. He is a Jiva Tattva, but very specifically empowered like this. There are many Shakti Avesh avatar, right? So Narada Muni is also considered Shakti Avesh avatar, imparting devotional service all over the universe. Prithu Maharaj and Archi Maharaj, that the pastime that we are discussing here, they are considered as Shaktavish avatar of personification of management. He was a very good Prashasak, Prithu Maharaj. Parshuramji, he is also Jiva Tattva, right? And Parshuramji is also considered Shaktavish avatar, where specifically the Lord's Avesha to destroy the paritranaya sadhu vinashaya dushkrutam. So that Avesha was there. So he is called as, so now Prithu Maharaj is also called as Shaktavesha avatar. Even Srila Prabhupada is also Shaktavesha avatar in that sense, because he is not Lord Vishnu, he is not Lord Shiva, he is a living entity, but the intensity of awarding devotional service, which is like unheard of in the history of humanity and even in the history of Vaishnavism, no Acharya, I mean, with all respect to everyone, has demonstrated this kind of that 55 crore Bhagavad Gita are distributed all over the world. This is a phenomenal thing, right? So, such personalities, they are not God, they don't become God, but they are very empowered devotees of the God. And such they are called as Shaktavesha, right? Pandavas are considered the Shaktavesha, the extreme, the Avesh. They are also considered Shakti-avesh. Text 3. Rishya urchuhu esha Vishnur Bhagavatah Kala Bhuvana Palini Itham cha Lakshmya Sambhutim Purushasya Napayini. Translation.
Translation. The great sages said, the male is a plenary expansion of the power of Lord Vishnu, who maintains the entire universe, and the female is a plenary expansion of the goddess of fortune, who is never separated from the Lord. Purport. The significance of the goddess of fortunes never being separated from the Lord is clearly mentioned herein. People in the material world are very fond of the goddess of fortune, and they want her favor in the form of riches. They should know, however, that the goddess of fortune is inseparable from Lord Vishnu. Materialists should understand that the goddess of fortune should be worshipped along with the Lord Vishnu and should not be regarded separately. Materialists seeking the favor of the goddess of fortune must worship Lord Vishnu and Lakshmi together to maintain material opulence. If a materialist follows the policy of Ravana, who wanted to separate Sita from Lord Ramchandra, the process of separation will vanquish him. Those who are very rich and have taken favor of the goddess of fortune in this world must engage their money in the service of the Lord. In this way, they can continue in their opulent position without disturbance.
So here, the great sages, Munaya Urchuhu, they said, the male, the personality who is born, Esha Vishnur Bhagavat Kala, who is Bhuvanapali. So here, the very specific quality of the Supreme Lord is being mentioned, Bhuvanapalini. Because Prithu Maharaj is very famous for Palanakarta, right? And the female, Lakshmi, she is the expansion of the plenary expansion of goddess of fortune, which is never to be separated from the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, the significance of the goddess of fortune is that she is never separated from the Supreme Lord. Wherever there is Lord Narayana, Lakshmi will automatically come, right? And therefore, Prabhupada used to tease people. Prabhupada used to say that people only worship Lakshmi, they have nothing to do with Narayana. But just imagine there is a husband-wife. If you have only relationship with a wife, and that will become very, very, awkward position. So have a friend with, have a relationship. Of course, I mean, in a limited sense, we have to take this. So he said that when you worship Supreme Lord Narayana, automatically Lakshmi becomes pleased with you. But if you only worship Lakshmi, then what you get is not Lakshmi per se, that is Chanchala, who will go from one place to another place, from one generation to another generation. And therefore, the best course of action is to always worship the Supreme Lord along with Lakshmi. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.